of all the illusions we can get hypnotized by, the illusion of the separate self is one that is especially powerful and strange. It makes sense to say that our whole experience of the world is an illusion because we just interpret it into existence. We take this raw fact of experiencing and we shape it through the power of our interpretive processes into a kind of coherent self and world. But there's always the possibility of looking at our experience honestly, instead of just relating to our interpretations, to actually feel what our experience consists of. And immediately we will discover that what this actually is, what our experience is made of, totally transcends all the ways of which we conceptualize it. But the illusion of the separate self is somewhat different to that. When we interpret an object in our visual field, for example, there really is something there which we are seeing. There is something which this interpretation refers to. And likewise, if we take our body, and for example, I'm taking the experience of my feet on the floor right now, there really is something there. There really is this ineffable, vibrating, tingling, dynamic experience of sensing the sole of my feet right now. Now, calling it my feet and calling it vibrating and all of that is of course an interpretation. But again, my interpretation at least refers to something that is in my experience. The separate self, however, is not like that. We never actually experience a separate self. That is only something we add to our experience. We believe that there has to be some kind of self. But when we actually look at what our experience consists of, this entire field of seeing, hearing, smelling, sensing, thinking, there never is a self there to be experienced. But strangely, this illusion of there being a self seems to be very seductive. We get pulled into that so quickly and so subconsciously that we usually don't even notice that. Now, if we are interested in awakening, it's crucial to understand that this self is never actually experienced. Now, I'm not saying that we don't have the sense of separation. It can very much seem like what we are experiencing is an independently existing world, and we are persons within that world. It can very much seem like this is real. And to some of us, it may not even be apparent that we have this belief of being a separate self. But the way we conceptualize ourselves and think about what we are often betrays this belief. We have ideas like we could be in another body, or we could have another mind. We have this sense that there is something, some kind of entity there, which is independent of this whole of existence, which can somehow be separated from it. There is this belief that there is this independent subject of experience. But fascinatingly, we never encounter that in our actual experience. And understanding that is quite important, because if we are interested in non-duality and a direct approach to awakening, then seeing through the illusion of the separate self is quite important. But paradoxically, of course, there is nothing there that can be seen through. I mean, if it was possible to recognize that there is no separate self, then we first would have to have the experience of being a separate self. But we never actually have that. We never have this actual experience of there being this localized entity. And now you might say, well, if we don't have this experience, why do I have this sense of separation? Why do I have this illusion of there being these independently existing objects and beings? Well, I grant that your experience might seem this way, But importantly, it doesn't seem this way because you are experiencing a separate self. It only seems that way because there is this grasping to our interpretations, this heavy-handed fixation of what we imagine reality to be like. And if this is there, then yes, separation can seem to be experienced. But again, remember, none of this includes the actual experience of a separate self. And not understanding this can be the cause of a lot of frustration. We want to have this experience of no self, of there just being no one. But fascinatingly, we never had the experience of being someone. If anything, we had this experience of contraction, of fixation, of grasping to interpretation, but that never included the actual experience of being a localized entity. So this may seem like a subtle difference, but if you're actually interested in realizing what the nature of your experience is, then making this distinction and understanding clearly that there never was a separate self in your experience is quite crucial. If anything about this remains unclear, you can write a comment in the comment section, or you can contact me directly through my website. Thanks for watching, and I will see you right here next time.